Over the past week and like a little bit, I've done a lot of reading, which is no big news, I guess. But typically, when I do my weekly reading recaps, I like to do like the previous week from Sunday to Saturday. I like being organized. But because this past weekend was a long weekend here in Canada, I did a lot of extra weekend reading, and some of it was digital. So I want to talk about it before I forget. Because if it's a physical book, I put it like I have a space where I put all the physicals that I've recently read so that when I do like my blogging posts and my video recaps, I can physically pick them up and I'm like, oh yeah, I read this. But with my digitals, I can't. I have to physically go into the Kindle app and check out like it's a whole thing and I will forget. So, because I read a few digitals yesterday, I just wanted to talk about everything today before I forget because they will leave my mind. But okay, let's talk. I read digital manga, physical manga, and I finished a light novel that I have been reading. So, let's talk about everything. First one I read, it does have an English, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, I think. This one, I read volume one, and I feel like I've talked about this before. I reread it because I am enjoying it, which is super briefly because I really do like this series. I read this one a couple years ago, volume one, this specific volume one. I read a couple years ago when I was still living in Japan, and I loved it. And I bought the first two volumes, but I just never ended up reading volume two. Came back to Canada, put it on my shelf, forgot about it. And then I remember, like, oh yeah, I own that, and I remember liking it. So I did a reread, and I loved it. Now I own the first four volumes, but I've still only read the first one volume and I need to catch up. This is probably going to be a series that I read digitally after I make my way through the four volumes that I own physically, just because it's a rather long one. And I don't think it's going to be that easy for me to find each individual volume for not a crazy amount of money. And I really do want to read this one quickly because I really do enjoy it. It's a spooky, cute series, but people are telling me like beware, like it it goes places, like you'll feel things. And I'm okay. I'm okay with feeling things. So I'm excited to continue reading this one. And I do have a full like volume 1 reading recap posted somewhere on here and on my blog. I talked a lot about this one because I really did enjoy it. This is like perfectly right up my alley in spooky but also cute. My two loves put together, and I need to catch up really, really quickly. Another one that I have also talked about a lot on my blog is Shiokaze to Ryuu no Sumika. This one does not have an English yet because it is still pretty new. There's only two volumes. This is volume two, published so far in Japanese. But I have been saying I'm pretty sure this is going to be my favorite shoujo series that I started this year. Like this will be my new series of 2025. It's this. I'm so so confident because it's such an interesting series. And it super briefly, it talks about a girl who, after losing both of her parents, ends up moving in to her uncle's house in a coastal town in Japan. And in this town, dragon people live amongst regular humans. And though there are few and far between dragon people, they do exist, and she ends up living with one such boy, and it talks about their relationship. And there's kind of like themes of, I don't want to say racism, but definitely like there's normal humans and then there's dragon humans. And the normal humans treat the dragon humans as though they're not humans because technically they're only half humans, but they do things like they'll pick up their scales and sell them online because they know they'll sell for a lot of money. They'll be kind of scared of the dragon people, and it just kind of talks of themes like that, while our protagonist here obviously crosses all the boundaries and befriends everybody like a classical shoujo protagonist is meant to do. So this is a very nice one. The art is beautiful. I love the male lead in this one because he's very like, he has a dry and kind of sarcastic sense of humor, which I feel like I don't see all that much in shoujo manga, and I'm loving it. So I'm loving it. That might be one that I do start reading digitally also. I might double dip. There are so few series, but some series that I really do love that I really want to read ahead really, really quickly. I will buy it first on my Kindle, and then once the physical comes out and I can find it for cheaper, I'll buy it physically. Like I've done that with Stomp Kick Love because volume, I think 5? Yeah. Volume 5 ended on such a cliffhanger and I needed to know what happened. So I have two versions of volume 6. But that's okay. I also read, this one does have English, and it is Classes with a Chance of Delinquent. I read volume 8. I know there's at least 9 volumes out, but I don't own anything past 8. So this is where I have to stop for now. And I'm so sad because this is such a fun series. I'm really, really enjoying it. I love a good Yankee romance, and this is just one of the most perfect Yankee romances. In this volume, there is a lot of like, there's a sense of conclusion, not of the overall story, but I guess of the overall arc that was just happening. It ends here, and it ends on a very good note. It's really, really sweet. I really, really like it. Like everything good about this series happens in this volume. It's a very, very good volume. Though I do have to say there hasn't been any bad volumes here. And just overall premise of this series is there is a girl named Momose. I'm bad with names. Yep, there is a girl named Momose who, in her slightly younger years, was rather terrorized by her Yankee classmates. Moving to a new school, she kind of does like a high school debut where she doesn't want to be recognized, and she meets Ichikura here, who looks like an honors student. He looks all nerdy. He has his glasses on, kind of disheveled hair, and they both join a club together where it's rather quickly revealed that Ichikura is a former Yankee. And he goes about showing Momose that not all Yankee are bad. And then they get together and kind of he says he's a former Yankee, but he's still kind of a Yankee. But like a good one, it's okay. Next, and these are not in order because I don't remember what order I read them in. Just I've read them all recently. This is another one. It's so good. Everything I've read is good. I think everything's good and I call everything cute. This is called Gin no Mugibatake. So, so, so interesting. I also did a video recap of everything that happens in volume 1 super recently, but it's so good. I originally thought it was a series about two girls who were going to be like witch besties. I judged the book by its cover. I'm I'm guilty of that, but it's not. It's a series. This character is a boy. I thought he was a woman until he was explicitly called a man, which is I just thought he looked he's pretty, okay? But I love that he's a man. I love that. I don't. It doesn't change anything for me, but it follows the story of Mei here, who lives in a world where there are two types of witches: silver witches and golden witches. The silver witches being very, very few, having been all sentenced to death, and being much stronger than the gold magicians or the gold witches and magicians. I use them interchangeably. So she lives in a world where that's happening. And one day she stumbles across Belle, who is one of the Silver Witches, or I guess the Silver Witch, who was sentenced to death, somehow alive and kicking and fine. And the story talks about their friendship. A lot happens. There's a lot of mystery, and it's just really good. You don't know exactly who's a good character and who's a bad character. We don't know anything really about anybody's pasts. It's all rather convoluted, which makes it so interesting. There's 3 volumes published right now. I don't know if there's any, I don't know if it's 3 and done. I don't know if it's ongoing. I know I've read volume 1 and I loved it, and I need to get volumes 2 and 3 ASAP because it's so good. I really, really love Mei as a main character because even though she's only 16 and she's really, really trying not to be put together, but she's really, really trying her best to look out for her new friend Belle here because they've grown close. They've known each other for about a half year, and he's been taking care of her. But so she's trying really hard to look out for Belle, but she's only 16, so she can't really do everything she wants. Like she's kind of trapped in that she needs to follow what other people tell her to do. She doesn't have her own voice yet. But she will, I bet. It's very good. Another one, also fantastic. This one does have an English release digitally on, I think, K Manga called My Situationship with the Vampire Count. I also did a video about this one. I do not like the English title all that much, but that's just me being nitpicky. The Japanese title is crazy long, so like I get it. It's like もっと婚約者から逃げるため吸血伯爵に恋人のふりをお願いしたらなぜか溺愛モードになりました。How are you gonna put all that into a title? It's long, but this is a very fun vampire-ish series. I will spoilers for this one. There's no actual vampires in this one. Just the count. I keep calling him a duke. The count is mistaken for a vampire because he wants people to mistake him for a vampire. He's really bored. He lives in the countryside. And like you're gonna need to make your own fun when you live in the countryside. Like I get it. So he played into the fact that like normally he kind of looks vampiric. So he has all of his servants dress up as vampires. They put on makeup, costumes. He had them paint his entire manor black because he feels that's how a vampire manor should look like. Like he's really really funny and just kind of out there, and I really really like him for that. So we have the vampire count, and we have this girl. It's kind of like a Cinderella story where she runs away from her abusive family into the arms of the vampire count, and it's just a nice story, and I really like it. I do have the first two volumes. I think there's like 5 out so far, but I only have the first 2, so I need to continue reading them very quickly. And yeah, I really, really like this one. Another one that I read that I should have read like a very, very long time ago is this one, and it's called Ore to Mouichido Hatsukoi. And this one will be getting an English release by Kodansha next spring. Do not completely remember the English title though. This one is complete at 5 volumes, and it is a reverse harem memory loss series. And I know it's full of like kind of cliches, but I like cliches. I like all of the cliches that come with this. And I really like all the characters. The art style is really nice. I really do like this author. I have this one and Gokutsuma Days, both by her, both really good. I've had all 5 volumes for a while. Just I only had 4 volumes for the longest time, and I didn't want to read it because I didn't want to be stuck at the second to last volume, not knowing when I'd be able to get my hands on the last. Because if I want to read it physically, and then it kind of got spoiled. People on Twitter went crazy posting things because I get it, it's a fun series. But now that I have all of them, I was kind of like, oh, like it's already been spoiled. Like I don't really want to read it. But I finally got around to reading volume 2, and it's so good. I'm really, really enjoying it. So it tells the story of a rich young like rich only daughter of a very rich family, and her adventures kind of dating maybe 4 men. It's very very unknown because again she has memory loss, and all 4 men are like, we love you, like hang out with us, like you said you were going to marry somebody and that somebody is me. And she doesn't know who she can trust because in volume 1 at least there are men who realize that she has memory loss and try and use it to their advantage, where they say like, yeah, I'm your dad, like I love you my daughter, get in my car and give me all your money. So she has, after going through that scary experience, she's realized she has to really really be careful with exactly who she trusts. And on top of that, all of the men in her life who are actually from her life before she got memory loss are trying to convince her that they do indeed love her and that she did love them before the memory loss. And it's nice. You kind of know who's the male lead. So, like, when I say it was spoiled for me, I knew who she was going to end up with right from the beginning. Like, it's pretty obvious. But, like, I don't want to be shown, you know? Like, I want to I want to witness it how it's supposed to be witnessed, which is why I was a little bit bummed. This one is called Kon'yakusha wa Dekiai no Furi. And this is a Lala series, so like obviously I'm going to enjoy it. As far as I know right now, there is no English for this, unfortunately, but fingers crossed it comes soon. Because I know even, I think Yen Press, I think it was a Hana to Yume one, but they released one, and I was like, oh, like okay. They recently released it, or released news that they will be releasing it. So I do feel like this is up their alley. Fingers crossed that it gets picked up because it's so good. But this is volume 2. I think again there's like 5 or 6 volumes. I only have the first 2. Need to get my hands on the rest. And it tells the story of a young woman who really wants to make her family proud, and she needs to help them get out of debt. While they are a noble family, they're in massive, massive debt. And she is trying to find a rich husband to help her get money. And so she's looking to marry for money, and her parents want her to marry for love. They do not want her to feel that burdened. They married for love, so they want their daughter to marry for love. And she is thinking, like I don't care about love. She is very, very bad at romance. She's not interested in romance. She's interested in taxes and money. Which you go, girl. But she eventually proposes like on the spot to a very 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 handsome man named Fahad, and he agrees, and she is stunned because she was just dumped 6 times in a row for not being romantic enough. Why is this like the world's most handsome man accepting my proposal? So she reaches out to him. She needs money, but she doesn't tell him that. She tells him like, I fall in love with you at first sight, please let's get married. And he's like, chill, let's do it. we find out that he also needs a bride for his own personal gain. And he knew she was looking for a rich husband because everybody knows she's been looking for a rich husband. She just got dumped 6 times. And it talks about their story where he's very, very good at romance and he's very good at convincing everybody around them that he's in love with her. And she's very bad at romance. So every time he puts on an act of like, oh, I love my fiance, she thinks he's being real. And it's just really funny. They slowly she kind of clearly already has feelings for him, but is kind of not aware of them. But he is slowly gaining feelings for her, and it's a slow burn in that it's so nice to watch. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I really like his character. He's kind of aloof, but not really. You never really know what he's thinking. Like he's really good at lying, and I really like that kind of character because I like being surprised. I like not knowing what's gonna happen. Okay, those are all the physical manga that I read. And then I also read 2 digitals. This first one, my iPad's heavy. This first one is called Shuudengo wa Amai Kisu Shite. Can I show it? It looks like this. I enjoyed it. This is a workplace romance where our female lead is like the our female lead is the like ultimate senpai at her work, where if one of her younger workers or her kohai have any troubles, she tells them like, "What are you doing? Like that's what I'm here for." Like in return, when you have a kohai, you help them. But for now, you're still kind of new. You don't really know what's going on. It's my job to help you. And like everybody swoons because like, oh, what a cool senpai, you know? And so she's seen as like the perfect coworker. She's thought of as having a younger boyfriend because she can take care of just about everybody, like just perfect. But she has a secret. She's not perfect. She's actually incredibly, incredibly stressed. And nobody knows this because she puts up such a good facade. One day, though, she's on like her 5th or 6th year at the company. She's been at the company for a little while, long enough to have kohai. But one day, somebody new comes to their company, transferred from Kansai, which is the man on the cover here, who just so happens to be the man who trained her when she started at the job years ago. And when she started at the job, she was terrible at the job. And she's really, really embarrassed because now everybody sees her as the cool, capable one. She doesn't want them to think of her as that girl who threw up at them at the very first after work meeting because she drank too much because she was nervous. And so he knows all of her like dirty little secrets. He knows her habits. He knows where to find her. But it's frustrating for her because he is actually like the actual perfect senpai. But he's also really good at kind of pushing her buttons. And you never know when he's actually pushing her buttons or when he's actually going to be kind. And she doesn't know either. So she's always kind of on edge with him where like is he going to do something nice or is he going to do something joking? Like I don't know. And they have really good banter. It's a really, really cute series, and it's an office romance, which in my old age I need more of. I need to read less high school romances. I'm joking. I'm never going to stop reading high school romances. But next one I read is called Watashi ni Okita Koi no Hanashi, and it looks like this. And this tells the story. This was only about 30 pages, so it was very short, the first chapter. But it tells the story of a university student who has been trying to find a job for a little while now, but it's just been rejection after rejection. And like job hunting in Japan is terrifying. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Where every time she's asked a question that she doesn't know how to answer right away, she freezes up and can't answer. Also, when the look on her interviewer's face says like I'm bored, I want to go home, she freezes up and can't say anything. So just about everything negative causes her to fail the interviews, which is really sad. One day after consecutive failures, she runs into this man on the cover in front of a cafe, and he just so happens to work there. And she confides in him with the, oh, I'm trying to find a job, but I keep failing. And he's like, okay, like let's work out a game plan. And he kind of talks her through like you look your best when you're talking about your passions, like try and make it fun, don't be nervous. Like you've already failed so many times. Why not have fun with it the next time around? Like who cares? What's 7? You know, you've already failed 6 times kind of thing. And then she does pass the next one and she comes back like thank you so much, like it was because of you that I passed, when really it was her own doing. She's the one who did it. But it talks about their story and it does end on a cliffhanger even though it's only the first chapter where like it's clear they both kind kind of have feelings for each other, even though they've only just met. It's like the very beginning, the very, very start of the feelings starting to happen when some random girl comes into the cafe looking for him, calling him by his first name. And it's clear that, like, if you're going to a cafe and you're like, where's like where's this boy? Like, it's clear you're close. Like, you're not just a regular customer. So what's gonna happen? I don't know because I haven't read on yet, but I'm excited to find out. And then the last one I read is the light novel that I finally finished, and it is The Condemned Villainess Goes Back in Time and Aims to Be the Ultimate Villain. I finally read this one fully front to back. It took me about 4 sittings, which is kind of surprising. I am a pretty fast reader, but I have to be in the mood to read fast. Like, it's difficult for me because I do like to read, but if I'm not like perfectly in the mood to read a novel or a light novel, I won't read it. So 4 sittings, pretty good. I really, 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 really enjoyed this one to the point where I am going to be buying volume 2 like ASAP. They introduced a new character like in the second to last chapter, Ryuu, and I need more of him. I don't know why they waited so long to introduce him. I'm intrigued. I want to know what he's up to. But so I read that. I think one of my favorite things about this is, I think, the first light novel I read front to back in English. Typically I read in Japanese. This is the first one that I've read that gives the point of view of so many different characters all throughout the series. It's always told in third person, but we're shown like multiple different characters. And I thought that was interesting. That really kept me on my toes. I really, really liked knowing what other characters thought. I thought that was fun. Because like in like novels, we do sometimes get other characters' POVs, but it's always from their POV. It's not third person, just cutting to them, which I like. Maybe that shows I don't read that many novels. I do read a lot. Just I read a lot of romantasy, and just I haven't seen a lot of specifically this type of storytelling in my English novels, and I've grown to really, really enjoy it. I will say I did get like 80% of the way done, and the series felt complete, and I had no idea where it was going. And I still kind of don't. This, like, I feel like if you just read volume 1 and you're done with it, I feel like it's a good story on its own. It does feel very complete. I guess the last 20% does introduce Raoul, I'm interested in, to kind of make you want to continue reading on because he will be in the story from now on, and that's the direction it will go, which I also like because maybe you don't want to read a full series, maybe you just want to read the first volume, and I feel like I'm going to continue reading. But if I only read volume 1 and then put it down and never continued, I would still feel pretty satisfied, I think. Yeah, that's everything I read, and I'm probably going to start reading more like today, probably.